What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's me again, kevinmcolon, otherwise known as the Mortal Kombat 11 Maniac. Let's see if we can get that to stick. Let's actually not... I just realized I don't like how it sounds too much. Regardless. And we started the video anyway. Regardless. Here we are. It is time that we cover how to win with Prime Directive Robocop. Honestly, my favorite combination of new character and new variation in Aftermath, which honestly caught me off guard. I, like a lot of you, was completely sold on can't wait to use Fujin, can't wait to use Fujin, can't wait to use Fujin. And I'm labbing him, and I'm finding stuff, and he has infinites, which is stupid, and they got patched out already, thank God. But I actually have been having the most fun playing very lame, very zony Robocop. Now I know it's kind of like a back and forth right now. There are a lot of people who don't necessarily consider him a zoner. I'm going to be on the side of the fence where I disagree. He is a straight up zoner. He's really good at doing it. Basically, you are Terminator, but instead of a 50-50 mix-up machine, you are a very, very annoying, abusive zoning machine. Your moves are practically the same. Your advantage of plus frames to force your opponent to guess on mix-ups is about the same. And you have way stronger projectiles. He's literally might be better Terminator with a different game plan. So let's go over it. Couple good buttons, couple good strings, couple special moves, how they all work in conjunction together, game plan, and then we'll call it a day. Why don't we say that? So let's start off. His standing one. This is about his best anti-air that he has. Also has the benefit of looking like his grab. Look at his stand one and look at his grab. So just mixing your opponent up off of whether you're going to do stand one again, or you're going to go into grab, or you're going to just abuse one, abuse one, abuse one. They don't know when the grab is coming. It looks really similar. It will catch a lot of people off guard if you use 1-2-1 a lot and then eventually go for a grab, because on reaction you almost cannot tell the difference between the two moves at that speed. It also leads into pretty strong anti-airs for him. You can do like standing one into back two, start getting a bunch of cool stuff going. Your pokes are very strong. He might have some of the strongest pokes in the game. He is plus 14 on his down one, plus 14 on his down three, plus 14 on his down 4. His down 2 is, of course, an uppercut. So if you land any of these pokes, it's your turn. Not a lot of characters have access to that. But there's 7 frame. You have a 7 frame down 1 that's plus 14 on hit. That forces mix up. Am I going to grab you? Am I going to forward 3? Am I going to short hop overhead? Am I going to go for a low even? You have options. Now, he doesn't really have any natural overheads outside of this one that we'll talk about later. So this low actually becomes not that great of a move. His back 3, it does have the benefit of a little bit of range, but you kind of beat that out with forward 2. We'll talk about that in a sec. His back 4, it's great range. So you can really cut off some pressure characters by just shooting them. There is a range where I believe one bullet hits them and they only like stumble or stagger. It might be harder to hit on Terminator. I'm trying to find it. For the most part, though, I seem to always get the sweep. I've seen it just get people to kind of step back before. But if you're hitting at a good enough range, they basically... See, there we go. They'll stumble. But you got to kind of like fish for that one. Ideally, you're going to get knocked down most of the time. Except now I keep getting stumbles. So into his strings. Robocop has some very strong, very consistent crushing blows, which in Mortal Kombat 11 you know is amazing. You want a character that has crushing blows you can fish for consistently. One of them is off of one of his strings. I don't know if I have easy crushing blows on. I do. Forward 2-1-2 will crushing blow on counter hit. This gives you some benefits because you can force opponents into unfavorable situations. You can hit confirm to push people off. You can go into plus frames to try to force another mix-up. Of course, I'm showing you stuff that I'm going to go over a second later, but for the sake of looking through the video, you can look at some of the stuff I'm doing there. That's basically the stuff you're going to do. It's pretty good for a whiff punish on its own. It has decent range. You'll see even here to whiff a punch and get in, but this is a good like shimmy tool, and I'm going to step in and go for it. It leads into good staggers because it's plus enough. You can mix up whether you're going to stagger off of forward 2, forward 2-1. You could do forward 2. A lot of people then will on block. We'll set the AI to block. A lot of people will block this forward 2, realize that you stop, get ready for your throw when you can forward 3 and lead into stuff. So it's a pretty strong stagger tool. A lot of Robocop strings are actually all pretty strong stagger tools if you really get into it. Your main whiff punish tool, even though this is pretty strong, is going to be your forward 4. Forward 4 has incredible range. And leads into meterless launcher, which is going to get you into a lot of your combos. something like that or something like this for a tad bit more damage will be great. Or you could do them into flamethrower if you don't want to risk doing the missile. It might even do a little bit more damage. I'm not sure. On meter burn, let's see. Yeah, that one's iffy, so it'll do more damage, but you might be punishable. Regardless, forward 4-2, great. Mid high, so the second hit can't get neutral ducked. There is a flawless block gap between the two if it does get blocked. Ideally, you're worried about people blocking the first one, neutral ducking the second. So you can start trying to cut off into flames and stuff to keep yourself safe. Getting into other tools to cover yourself if someone is a high enough level where they start reacting to it in such a way. Forward 3-2 is your, if I don't know what to do, this is what I do straight. It's your go-to. It has a full extension, which looks like this. It's forward 3-2-2-1-1-1. The only benefit of hitting the full thing is pushing the opponent away, but you can achieve that through better means of hit confirming, and it's not a hard string to hit confirm. You'll notice if this is hitting when you get used to it. I wouldn't recommend finishing it. There's not really a good point to doing it, and all the shots at the end are highs, which leaves you open against getting neutral ducked and punished. So ideally, cut it off at 4-3-2, and you're going to cancel that into different things, or you're going to use it as another stagger tool. You know, you stagger depending on how you adapt to your opponent. You figure it out as you go. 1-2-1 is your go-to punish string. You've got an 8-frame standing one, like a lot of standing ones. It's a high, but it's very fast. Very advantageous on hit. You're 24 flames plus on hit, so you can either confirm it into special moves to stay plus for a little bit more damage, keep the same game plan going. You can confirm it into other special moves to push people off. You have options. You can try to do something like this in stagger, but ideally, if you want to keep that plus situation going, you're going to go for something like this, or get this going and then go for a grab because your opponent has to guess. So it's a good mix up there. Back 3, I feel like a lot of people sleep on this one. It's a low. Again, you don't really have good mix-ups, but it has decent range. So take advantage of the range on this. I'm going to double check because I want to say it's safe. Like it's like -5. Yes, it is. So this is safe. You do lose your turn. It ends in a mid. There's a flawless block gap, but of course this is similar to kind of like Jackie's back before, except you're keeping yourself safe instead of making yourself plus. And with how annoying Robocop can be, he's supposed to be a little weaker up close than he is from afar in this variation, so that's most of the reason that the move works like that. You have some strong crushing blows. Oh, you also have your back forward 1. Before I get into that, this is my segue, and I got a little ahead of myself. Your back forward 1, pretty strong. It'll get you under projectiles. You can amplify it. It's not safe if you amplify it, but of course if you're full screen away, you're not really going to get punished for it. You're just going to give your opponent time to push in. Robocop being a zoning character, people are just going to look for opportunities to get closer to you. This might buy them one. It has a crushing blow condition. If your opponent throws a projectile and you get under it, you shoot him in the groin, and you get a 23 damage meterless projectile for doing so. So something like the Sub-Zero matchup, this helps you deal with him because he can shoot Ice Ball. You can get under Ice Ball. You can get under Liu Kang. You can face another Robocop who's doing this and call them at the right time. Shang's Fireballs, Noob's Ghost Ball. A lot of projectiles are high, so you guys know how the game works. You get under them, you land this. Get a crushing. You can, if Kotal's trying to fish for his, if you hit his first, you get yours. The Amplify is pretty good. It lasts for a big amount of time. Some people, when they're really used to you doing this one, will want to punish you or get in, and the Amplify will catch them off guard and get you a couple of free hits. Be careful doing it up close because it is insanely unsafe up close. So something like this, -16, that's a big no-no. The move on its own, -18. So you can make yourself a little safer. If you already went for it and you have the meter, you might as well spend it and hope that they get hit with one of those. But ideally, you shouldn't be going for it up close anyway. Your back forward 2, one of your great specials. It is a missile, and the main benefit of the missile is the pushback. God, I feel like that kid from the Wild Thornberries. The main benefit of hitting with this move is these 2 things. One, the pushback is astronomical, okay? So that's going to hit your opponent full screen from no matter where you hit it, whether you hit confirm, they're practically full screen at that point. You get back to your zoning game. Because it's a high, most players will neutral duck it, and neutral ducking might open some of them up to getting hit with some gunshots. If they try to jump over your projectiles, which they're going to try to do if you're zoning them very well, the missile will catch them, and if they try to time the missile to jump over the missile, you can, you can amplify and delay it and catch them that way. You can delay it for quite a long time, actually. So that'll usually take care of the jumping problem, and it's very frustrating for your opponent because they have to basically guess through like 3 missiles to get in. You only have to guess right once, and they are back out. Of course, if they're a teleporting character, they'll kill less, but they will care less. Come on, Kev. You got a working mouth. You speak English. If they have a teleport or something, they will care less. Somebody like Terminator who can absorb projectiles will care a little less, but still, this is a big threat. Outside of that, you have your down back 4, which has a couple different ranges. It has a close range, a regular range. So down back 4 back will give you close. Down back 4 on its own will give you medium. Down back forward will give you far, and down back up 4 will give you, sorry, down back 4 up. You know what I mean. We'll give you the far version. And this is very advantageous on hit, obviously, and very advantageous on block. You are, I believe, +8 if block everything. Okay. Believe if this hits, you are +8, which gives you free access to other tools. A good mix of the special moves that we just went over would look something like this for a basic Robocop zoning tool. Okay. You hit confirm into anything. Missile is advantageous enough to jail into down back 4 for free, depending on what range they're at. And then if they block down back 4 because they're basically jailed into it, you are plus enough to get this gunshot out. So your game plan could look something like this. Very simple. I'm going to hit you, hit confirm into missile, jail you into this, and when you block it, go into my gunshot because you have to eat it, basically. So this confirmed on jail gives you a whole zoning plan. That hits, that gets blocked, I'm free to do this. Or both of them hit, you're still free to do it. But if this hits, ideally you're going to use that time to stay into this until they block it. And when they do block it, you're going to start your gunshot game. And when they try to jump over it, you're going to start your missile game. And that's your basic zoning plan, and it's very effective. What will happen, though, is enemies will try to get close to you, and some of them will do it successfully. Of course, if you play a Scorpion or a Noob or Raiden or somebody who can have an easier time closing the gap, you need a game plan for when they get close, and this is when you are going to abuse your very, very dominant plus frames. Hit confirming, very important for Prime Directive. Your Flamethrower is your next special move, and you'll see it's +15 on hit on its own, +17 if it's amplified. One of the reasons it's good to amplify constantly is, one, the damage difference between getting, let's say, 19 damage in that situation or getting 14. This also helps you corner carry, which means if you do hit them, you have a lot more room to back up, which as Robocop you're going to want if you're zoning and they're pushing in. You know, ideally you'd like to start zoning from here and just have all the room in the world to back up. This forces mix-ups. So the main difference between these two is, while this one is very plus, you have to dash in, whereas this one will put you right in the range where you can just go into your next move, basically. But ideally, I would dash in after both. It makes it safer, and you're so plus, nobody's really going to interrupt you from doing it. You're threatening a mix-up, whether you're going to continue pressure with strings, whatever string you choose. I would ideally go for forward 3 if you're going for the mix-up, or whether you're going to throw. You can do this, throw your opponent. One of the reasons you're going to want to throw is there is a throw fail escape crushing blow. So if they guess wrong on the mix-up, that's 31% damage. And you're going to want that extra damage. And if they guess wrong on the mix-up, either direction, 31% damage. So once you have one fail escape loaded up, this mix-up becomes very threatening. Because it's either big damage, you can do something like this, and lead it to not necessarily huge damage, but decent damage for Robocop. That's a quarter of his health gone, on top of all the damage he's taking from me constantly zoning and him guessing incorrectly. Or you're threatening that if they guess wrong on the mix-up, it's 31%. And if they're fearful of that throw, once they get accustomed to the fact that Robocop has that throw, because some people don't even realize he has that crushing blow condition. If they're fearful of that throw, they will have a tendency to want to take the pressure anyway because it's less damage, but that also buys you more opportunities for mix-ups, which they might get hit with a throw anyway. And look, they guessed wrong 2 times, and they're practically dead at this point, and I'm a zoner. So, you want to be careful with that. Other crushing blows, of course, notably, his down 2 is very good. Yeah, his gunshot, his forward 2-1-2 hits, and his throw. So he has 4 pretty consistent crushing blows. Ideally, if you're fishing for them in matches, you can find them. The throw and the gunshot and the down 2 are going to be the 2 easiest ones to hit. This one will be a little harder, but ideally you'll hit it anyway. The reason it's hard is because people know about it and will block the overhead. When they try to do that, you can actually put yourself in an advantageous position anyway by amplifying your missile up close, and you are then +7. So you then, of course, get room to go for more pressure. Any string that they block, you end an amplified missile, and of course, the farther away you are, the more plus it is when it hits. But up close, it's still very plus and will lead you into more pressure. When you go for mix-ups, again, same idea. You can either mix up into more pressure, you can mix up into throw bait for crushing blow damage, or you can mix up and be ballsy and go for something like this for bigger damage. So it's very strong, and if somebody stand blocks all the time for whatever reason, you can go for this. You can try doing this, threatening the overhead and stopping when they stand up and getting something like that, which can lead you into nice positions. Though that one's a bit riskier, but it is something to go to. Introduce an overhead. If they have slow reactions, you might catch them with that low. Who knows? You can catch that low into flamethrower and get great pressure. His pokes, of course, yes, of course, are very advantageous. His down 4 can be canceled into special moves. If I can get the execution down, which makes it a decent threat, you can do it into missile if you're so brave. Missile is one of the ones I like to go for, the more that I've been getting adjusted to it, because it'll either hit and push them away, or I'll amplify it and be plus on block. I have to keep switching back and forth between this. I will amplify it, be plus on block, and then continue my pressure. And I accidentally got ahead of myself, but this was the next move I wanted to discuss anyway. His shield. His shield, very strong. You can go for shield basically after strings, and it's still really hard to punish you, and it's going to make people not want to punish you. It's great for the poke game. You down 1, they down 1, you down 1 shield. They hit shield. What happens when they hit shield? Let's see. Let's go ahead and record the AI being so brave as to try to hit my... Oh, that's a low. That's not going to work. Let's go ahead and record the AI being so brave as to try to hit my shield. Knockback, we're back at a zoning game again. It even has its own crushing blow condition, which is the harder one to hit out of his crushing blows, which will punish your opponent for doing a wake-up attack, which makes it very threatening on wake-up and will basically condition your opponent to not use their wake-up. The longer the set goes on, the bigger of a threat it becomes, because it opens your opponent up to... It stops your opponent from relying on their wake-up 3s or wake-up 2s because of the crushing blow that it threatens. So you get a sweep on them. They wake up with something, right? It has to be amplified, I'm sorry. You can amplify it. And mind you, that's not the same as the throw crushing blow, even though it looks similar. These are 2 separate ones. Okay, it just has the same animation. But this threat is so strong... Oh my god, come on, Kev. This threat is so strong that once your opponent realizes how much you're covering yourself by doing that, they will hesitate to do anything on wake up, where you get pressure. And you go back into your mix-ups again. Very strong, very plus, or you'll go into your throws, which you might load up a crushing blow. Again, very, very strong game plan. Outside of that, his down back 1 is another one of his special moves, and it's only really good as an anti-air tool because it is unblockable, though it will not lead you into crazy combos. In most situations, this is about the best you can get off of it. In the mid-range, you're really going to have to combo into it. Your only better chance is if you get standing 4 into it, and that's more consistent in the corner than it is in other situations. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to set the AI to just constantly jump, and we're going to move ourselves over to the corner close to him, and we're going to give ourselves a crushing blow to show you some of the biggest damage you can cash out on. This might take me a couple of tries, but I'd like to end with this just to give you some fun, hype Robocop stuff you could try to pull off on people who are unsuspecting. And I believe this will net you, it like doesn't scale the crushing blow at all. This will net you almost 50% damage. For something as small as that, if you read that your opponent's going to jump in the corner and you get this, we just hit 48% damage off of that. So that's amazing. Oh, we also didn't note. I always do this. One last thing. Your down back 4 can be amplified for setups. It'll roll a little bit ahead of where you place it down, so you want to keep that in mind. You'll see here, like if we just shoot it out, let's say like the close version, it'll go here, but I can do the close version here, and it'll get close enough to him to allow me to combo off of it. But this can be blocked. It can't just be blocked as a mid. Yeah, you can down one and then do 4-3-2 and then put that into either rocket or fatal blow or flamethrower. It's possible. I'm not consistent right now, and I don't want to waste your time. You can of course lab it. If you really want to see it done that bad, when I drop a Robocop combo video, it'll be in there. Outside of that, am I missing anything? I don't think so. Oh, his back 1-2 string is very strong because it throws out a projectile and he steps away from it, so it's very hard to punish and on block. Only -5, but your -5 at this range doesn't say much for him. You can keep it close. You can push it out farther. You'll see you can get it out at some decent ranges, so you don't even have to be threatened by it. You can use it for many things like that. Of course, you can special cancel the first hit, but not the second. But that's not really why you're using that string anyway. You're just playing an abusive range game where you're trying to push people off. Also, be careful if you go for the far version. Make sure you hit the 2 first, because if you hit 1 first, you'll cancel into missile. Outside of that, that's about it. Robocop is very strong. Make great use of him and bop some people. And if you'd like to play me with him, follow me on stream. I'm at twitch.tv/kevinmcolon. I've been streaming most nights 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I post my schedule to Twitter every week, so check for it there. We're also hosting Mortal Kombat 11 tournament called Battle for the Realms every Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and offering cash prizes. So if you'd like to participate, join the Discord, get involved in our Golden Fight League community. We'd love to have you. Guys, it's been a pleasure as always. Robocop is as amazing as I didn't know I wanted him to be. I might even start making him one of my serious main characters. So, might be a character you want to look into. Though he's boring, very effective. And if you love 80s and synthwave and nostalgia and zoning and lame and fun and plus frames and winning, he might be the character for you. Outside of that, I'm going to call the video here. I will see you all soon with some more Mortal Kombat 11 content from your boy. It's been a pleasure as always. Love you. See you guys next time.